When I first joined Flow, one of the priorities that we were looking at was something called Snap to Road. I'll explain what you're seeing on your screen first, then I'll jump back onto what we were trying to do and how we changed priorities. So the left-hand side, the first screen that you see is our dashboard for one of our apps that we produce. Dashboard, first place that you land after registration, and that really shows you your score based on your mobile phone sensor data. In the middle, what you see is your journeys list, and that's all the trips that you've done that you've recorded over time. And on the far right, what you see is if you click on one of those trips, you go into a map, and that map then shows you where you traveled from, what your score is, and whether you've answered your calls throughout that trip, etc. Uh, in that map, sometimes the GPS points, which is overlaid on top of a map, may not fit to a road. And that means that the line may run slightly adjacent to the road sometimes, or sometimes there might be slight jaggedy edges on your map line. And that somehow was the priority that we were working on. And I applied the same theory of understanding the problem first before we start solving this problem. And what actually transpired in the numbers that you see in the middle are the conversion rates of how many people go to each step of the funnel. And what we found was, from dashboard to the journey list, only 60% users go in. From journeys, 15% users go in. And looking at the event data, what we found out was only 5% of individuals actually click on the map or do anything with the map. So suddenly the value went from 100% of users will be effective and it'll be a very detrimental experience to 5% of users potentially could be affected. And even then, there will be a much lesser proportion of those 5% users who will ultimately have a concern around that or have enough of a concern that they'll be vocal about the experience. There are plenty of other things in our backlog which may affect 10, 20, or 30% of users. And that's why we're going to prioritize something else compared to this change. And that's what I really mean about understanding the problem uh, and revaluing the problem based on your prioritization and everything else that's on your backlog as well. Um, a lot of senior stakeholders, when some of this stuff happens, get involved, and similar thing in this case as well. And we were able to articulate our point very clearly, even though I was, I think, probably a week into my new role, to say, you know what, this is not the right thing to be doing. And it's not, that I know the app very intimately or the product that I've been working on, I've got years of experience behind. It's really the data that's empowered me to give that very confident answer and challenge decisions
In
based on data-driven decision making.